Hello, everyone. I'm Esperanza Walsh, and this is Art from the Heart at St. Augustine's Church. And we're doing it remotely because of the lockdown due to COVID-19. Now, today we're going to do more of underpainting. This is an application, and in this application, we are going to create a landscape. Yes, and this is by using underpainting as the base. So, this is the basic sketch of the landscape, which we are not going to draw. We are instead going to do underpainting. Okay? So the first thing we have to do is to decide the tone that we want to use for this underpaint. And I would like to use yellow as my base, so I will be using yellow ochre. Let me just mix some paint, and then we shall start. Okay, I am now going to mix some paint. I still have some yellow ochre in this well, but I am going to need some more of it. So I'm starting by just adding lots and lots of water to create enough underpaint. Okay, then I'm going to add some yellow ochre. Mix it thoroughly. Wow, that's fantastic. And the first step would be to paint this area over here, which is a very large part and completely in front. So I am just going to draw that line using the paint. And then I'm just going to paint the rest of it with yellow ochre. Yes, and it has to be dilute, though it would be affecting the color of our painting. It wouldn't. It would only affect it to a certain extent. So we have done that underpaint for that area now. Now the next part I am going to do is to do the underpaint for the tree. I really do want this tree to be a bit bigger. I want the trunk to be a bit thicker. So I'm just gonna make it a little bit thicker. So there's the trunk, and now I am painting some branches. So again, everything is in the same yellow ochre that we have used in this area. More branches over there. Okay, and now, just like painting regular leaves, I am going to dab some yellow ochre to represent the leaves. There we go. Lovely leaves. Wow, that is beautiful. So we've done that tree, and I did put more leaves than in the sketch because I do like my tree to be full. So it would depend on you. If you want lesser leaves, you can just dab it up to here or just put a minimum amount of leaves, but that depends on you. Again, I like my tree full, so I have put more leaves on it. And this area represents those leaves. Now, the next bit would be the houses. There are two houses here. And to create those houses, the first thing I'm going to do is to paint some sort of a rectangular shape here. Let me show you. So that's rectangular in shape. That would be this part. And then I'm going to paint the roof, which is triangular. So there's a triangle here. Also using yellow ochre. Yes, it will be all in one color. The underpaint will be all in one color. So you can use a combination if you feel that that is more suitable for your painting. But for this scenario, I'm just going to use one. And I'm going to extend this to create the rest of to create the rest of the house so that the house doesn't look flat. Okay, so there we go. That's one house, and then the house behind it. That's a bigger house. So I'm gonna do the same thing. Use the same technique. I'm gonna draw it first, a triangle. Yeah, there we go. And then here the roof is curving. Yes, and then I'm just gonna paint the whole thing here with yellow ochre. Okay, so there are the two houses with underpaint. Oh, and again, remember the house is not flat, so I'm going to paint it here. Okay, so now we have the underpaint for our three-dimensional house. And then if we look at the sketch here, there's some trees behind it. So I do have to have more paint, more yellow ochre paint to do that. And the reason I'm using yellow ochre is because if I mix yellow ochre with blue, which is the sky, it creates green, so it just creates more leaves. So that would make the art piece look more natural. Now, just dab some here. Perfect. Okay, the next thing to do is to create that horizon. Okay, now I have to change the orientation of the paper so I can paint a straight line. I think I should do it the other way because the mountains are going to be in this area. And all I have to do is really just paint a straight line parallel to the base. And there we go. Now, I am going to paint one mountain using yellow ochre. So that's one mountain. And then another mountain here. You could hardly see it, but trust me, it is there. Now, we've done the underpaint for the whole art piece. So once you've done this, we're ready to put the layers on. Now we start from the back, okay? So from the back, we first do the sky, the clouds. So I'm just going to paint the white area here with water, just water. And this is to allow a smooth flow of the blue paint. So I'm gonna paint the white areas here as well. Okay, some of the water is touching the yellow ochre paint. That's all right. If it bleeds on the yellow ochre paint, that's fine as well. That's all right. Okay, now I'm going to shape the clouds the way I want it to look like. Okay, maybe like that a little bit. And then I'm going to spread the paint here. And then maybe a few lines over here. Okay, and if you have too much, you can just lift it with your brush, or if it's really a lot, you can use your kitchen towel to dab it off. Now I want to put more drama here, more clouds, more sky, more blue, in other words. So I've now just rinsed my brush and I am brushing the edges of the blue paint which have not spread smoothly in the water. I'm just trying to make it look smoother. Yeah, I'm softening it by painting the edges with water. And there we go. We painted the edge with water. Let me just rinse that again. Oh, perfect. So now we have our clouds ready. That's finished. I would usually do the tree first, but since I'm waiting for this area to dry, for this round, I am going to paint the water first. I mean, after the clouds, the water would be next. So I am mixing blue with a little bit of green. Let me test that. Okay. And then I'm gonna paint the water, and I'm gonna paint it in a way that would make it look more dynamic. So that's in an X fashion. So just like that, X. So we just keep on doing that. And if there are spaces in between the paint, that's okay. That would be the reflection of light in the water. So that would make your water look very dynamic. Oh, we're doing very well here. Again, I would usually do this tree first before the water, but since this area is still wet, I cannot do that. So what we're going to do is paint the water first and then do the tree. Yes, some of the areas in the water would be darker than others. Okay, now let me see if it has dried. Okay, it's not yet dry. So we'll give it some time. And once it's dry, we start with the tree. Okay, it's now dry. And I have thought about this. Since the mountains are behind the tree, I think we should do it before painting the tree. So we'll do that first. And we do that by diluting black paint. Okay. And then that would be a bit more of a gray. And then just painting here, just straight along the horizon. And then I'm gonna flip it over because it's easier for me to see it. And then I am going to paint the top side of the mountain. And this would also be easier in creating the shadow because if we do this after the tree, I've just realized it, we would have to put additional effort in painting the shadow of the mountain. And I will show you exactly what I mean. Oh dear, there's a bristle stuck there. Well, I can't remove it now, so it has to stay there until it dries. Yes, that just shows that my brush is falling apart. It's not, well, it's been with me for a while, so I guess it has served its purpose. But I love it, and I know it's still doing very well. So I'll just get rid of the bristle that has fallen off later on. See, this is what I'm saying. So the shadows and all of those are easier to create if you do this first, if you do this before the tree. Now, again, doing it this way would require us to allow this to dry first before we can do the tree. Thus, we have to do the house first. So because I've chosen to do the water first. It has affected all the other art pieces, because if we did the tree first, we will be going from sky to tree to water to house to mountain and then to the foreground. But in this case, we did it not the other way, sky to water to mountain to house, then the tree. Okay, so I will do the house, just light brown paint. Okay, this should be lighter. So I've just rinsed my brush. Okay, and just as what we did earlier, you have to create that triangle and that square, which is the basic shape of the house. Okay, and I think I've made it a little bit bigger than the underpaint, but that's all right. We are not doing this with technical measurements, so that's all right. However, if it's measured, underpaint would be okay, but it will be best to sketch the image first. So here I am drawing this. This is the roof. Okay, so now we have to do the windows. Yes, do the windows. We just make that rectangle over there. It doesn't have to be a perfect rectangle. And then later on, we can put some frame around it. And then here, the wall. This would be a little bit darker than the front because of the shadows, which is right. And then we're going to do the other house. So let's do the roof. Yeah, and since I have made this one too big, well, not too big, but bigger than it's supposed to be, the house behind it would also be bigger, because that would be in proportion. So I don't think I can put the details over here. So I would be ending up with this area. Again, it doesn't have to be exactly the same house when you do it. If it's too dark, rinse your brush, dip it in water, and use the water in the brush to spread the paint that you already have on the paper. There we go. So what we're doing is we're just making the silhouette for the second house. Okay, and now we can let that dry. We can now start with our tree. Wow, finally. I do love this bit. So this is our tree. Okay, in making the tree, I start with the trunk. And then from the trunk, I paint the branches. Okay, when I paint the branches, there would be some gaps in between. And that would be where the leaves are going to be painted on. There we go. So there we are. Okay, perfect. That's perfect. Okay, it's a little bit dry now. I'm just going to add a few more branches. There we go. Oh, that's beautiful. Perfect. Now, I love this part. It's painting the leaves. So we'll be painting the leaves now. We'll be painting it using light green. So I have to add yellow. One moment. I have to add yellow to my green paint. Bear with me, just mixing the paint. Oh, there we go. Yellow, green. And where we have our underpaint, I'm just gonna paint green over them like that. There we go. That's beautiful. I love green. More green over there. And then later on, we are going to paint some areas here with a darker green paint. And that is to take into account the shadow or the direction of light. And this is what I'm saying, that the leaves would be, um, it should appear as if it's covering those branches. That's why we didn't paint those areas with brown. Let's put some more over here. And it's okay to paint it over the water. It would just darken the green paint. Fantastic. That is fantastic. Now, while that is drying, let's go back to the details of the house. So we go back to brown. And what we have to do would be to paint those windows and the window over here as well on this side of the house. Okay, well, looks more like a door now because it's big. But here, there's also a window, a rectangular one, long rectangular one. And beside that is something that looks more like a square. And then we'll frame that together. Lovely. So we frame that together. And it's okay. If it spreads, that's all right. Now, here at the bottom, there's door. So we need to paint that big door. Okay. Oh, big door over here. Looks more like a barn. Oh, beautiful. That's beautiful. And then, just like how we did the windows, we're going to put some sort of framing around it. Okay. And for the house in front, we need to add more shadows here because this brown is too light. So we have to see the roof. And to do that, we need to have shadows. Like for this, for example, I have not, that part of the roof have been mixed. It is mixed into the door. Later on, when this is dry, I'm gonna try to lift more of that paint. Yes, to show that the roof, uh, show the roof here in this house in front. Okay, wow, we're doing pretty well here. Okay, if we put some green leaves here, we should also put the green leaves here. So let me get some more green and yellow. Yellow, bear with me, just adding yellow to my green stuff. And then there we go. So we're just creating that green area with the leaves. Yes, there's a drop there. Don't mind that because later on, that area would also be green. Oh, beautiful. It's just so beautiful. And I was just saying a few seconds ago that this area would be green. So we now paint this underpaint with the light green color, which we use for the leaves. Just paint all of that. Oh, perfect. And yes, I am doing some magic here on this part, and I am trying to um, spread the color here on the ground to make just to soften it, make it look natural, more natural, the brown paint. So the transition from the tree going to the ground would be more natural. So let me just get some more green, okay, before all of this dries. Okay, that's perfect. And more. So we actually have one shade of green here only. There are white areas. Leave the white areas there. That's all right. That makes it look more natural. Now we are going to put some darker green on it. Okay, maybe not too dark. I'm just gonna add some green to the yellow, darker green to the yellow green that we had. Make some areas a bit darker. Yes, that adds more excitement. Okay. Ah, this is even more exciting. Now we will need to put a bit of the really dark green along the horizon while this is drying. And this is to create that illusion that there are trees along this horizon. So this should be a straight line. If you can't make it straight, that's all right, because trees have reflection on the water. Um, it's not really a straight path. Well, we have to have leaves here because if you can see, there's this yellow bit of underpaint that we missed. So later on, we're going to paint this with light green. Oh, let's make that now. Okay, one moment. So, and that is, okay. So now that's good to go. Let's add some more here. Yes, this will just make it more three-dimensional. This is not the dark green paint I was talking about earlier. That's still separate from this. And then, where are we? Oh, the dark green bit on the horizon. Okay, now we're going to create that image. There are trees here. So I'm going to make this round shape here, followed by this other random shapes. Wow, that's pretty. So that's a horizon. Wow, that is amazing. Okay, so now we can see here we have mountains and some trees at the foot of the mountains. That's great. Now, for the dark green paint that we use for those, we're just going to add a little bit water, a little bit, just a little bit, just diluted. And then we're going to use that to create some shadows in this leaves over here. So first of all, before we put the shadows, we have to determine where the sun is shining. So it should be here based on the shadow of the house. So that's what we're going to follow. So here, that means the shadows would be in this area. The lower part of the leaves. There we go. So let's just put some more green paint there in the lower part of the leaves. We're doing very well. Wow, that's great. That is amazing. Okay, so just this part over here. Wow, perfect, perfect. That is amazing. Lots of green leaves. I love it. So now we've done the tree. We've almost finished the house. We've done the water, the mountains. Oh, we haven't put the shadows and the leaves here. But let's do the house first. So we'll get some brown paint and just little bits. And I mean just really just a little bit for this one. So I'm just, yeah, making the shape of the roof really prominent over there. So that means it can be seen. Then some small lines here. Okay. And then lines there. Oh, and this one, I want to do this part again because I couldn't really see that part of the window. And because of that, I need to do the frame again. So frame. But let's make this a little bit darker. And we do that by just spreading the paint in the brush. Well, we're just adding more character to it. Oh, this bit I want to be a little bit darker. So I'm using black for the shadow here. Remember not to use too much black because it is very overpowering. So there, the shadow. Black shadow. Ta-da! Wow, almost finished. Now, what seems to be missing? For me, I think there's a need to put some more details here, like some grass. So let's do that. Let's put some grass. Let's say here. Okay, let me just change the orientation. Oh, and here as well, grass would look very nice here in this area. Actually, during spring, you can even put some flowers over there. Just dots of red or yellow or something really colorful. Let's put some here as well. And let's put some grass here in front of this barn, this house that looks like a barn. Then just spread the green paint. Yes. Yes. Okay. Perfect. Very nice. The brush strokes actually adds character to the art piece. Wow. Okay. So now this bit is the only area where we need to put shadows, and we'll finish that up. Yeah, just like that. Wow, that's quick. Let me just rinse this and soften the edges of those strokes. Wow, perfect. So now we have the tree over here, trees over there, the house, water, mountain, sky. In other words, our composition is complete. And we've done this by painting layers over an underpaint instead of sketching it. I hope you enjoyed this session, and see you next time for more underpainting and other topics as well. Thank you very much. Bye-bye.